September 29th, 1995, bases loaded. No outs. Bottom of the ninth, the opposing batter is salivating. And Greg Maddux throws 9 pitches, gets 3 outs, never breaks 86 miles per hour. Impossible. But here's what nobody tells you about that inning. It wasn't luck. It wasn't even talent. It was pure, calculated genius. And that is why Greg Maddux might be the most disrespected legend in a baseball history. Everyone talks about Clemens, Pedro, Randy Johnson throwing 100 miles per hour gas. But the guy who carved up the most dangerous era in baseball history with a fastball slower than most high schoolers, almost forgotten until today. Let me ask you something. Could any modern pitcher do what Maddux did? Could they win 355 games in an era where hitters were injecting horse steroids and turning into comic book characters? Not a chance. But Maddux, he didn't just survive the steroid era. He dominated it. 4 straight Cy Young Awards. An ERA under 2.00 when everyone else was getting shelled. And he did it all with a smile and a mind that worked 3 pitches ahead. This isn't just a story about baseball. This is about a man who proved that intelligence beats strength every single time. Stick around, because what I'm about to show you will change how you see greatness forever. But before we get to the legend, I need to tell you about the moment Greg Maddux realized he'd never be a power pitcher. 1984, high school, Las Vegas. Greg throws in the low 80s. College scouts are polite but uninterested. He's 5 feet 11 inches, maybe 170 pounds. Nothing special. His own high school coach told him he probably wasn't cut out for professional baseball. What happens next? We'll get to that. But first, you need to understand where this obsession with precision came from, because it makes what he became even more impossible. Gregory Allen Maddux, born April 14th, 1966, San Angelo, Texas. His older brother, Mike, was the better pitcher growing up. Mike had the velocity. Mike got drafted first. And Greg watched, Greg studied, Greg learned. Here's what happened. Greg realized early that he'd never overpower anyone. So he started experimenting. Where should I throw this pitch? What's the hitter expecting? How can I make 84 miles per hour look like 94? While other pitchers were just rearing back and throwing, Greg was conducting experiments. Every pitch was data. Every at-bat was a chess match. 1984. The Chicago Cubs drafted him in the 2nd round, 31st overall pick, because scouts saw his fastball and shrugged. To put that in perspective, that's like passing on Steve Jobs because his first computer didn't look pretty enough. Now, quick question for you. Drop a comment below. Who's the smartest player in baseball today? Not the hardest thrower, not the biggest slugger, but the most intelligent. Because what Greg was about to do would prove that the brain beats the body every single time. Keep watching. 1986. Greg Maddux makes his major league debut. 20 years old, and he gets destroyed. 5.52 ERA. Hitters are teeing off. Most pitchers would panic, add velocity, change everything. But Greg did something different. He got smarter. He started keeping a notebook, every hitter he faced. What pitches worked, what didn't, their tendencies, their weaknesses. He filled pages with notes. His teammates thought he was weird. Who keeps a journal about baseball? Greg did. 1988. Something clicked. Greg went 18-8 with a 3.18 ERA. Suddenly, hitters who should be crushing his 86-mile-per-hour fastball were flailing. Why? Because Greg wasn't throwing to the strike zone anymore. He was throwing to locations the width of a baseball. Bottom corner, outside edge, inside corner, at the knees, never down the middle, never predictable, But the real magic was about to begin. Because in 1992, Greg Maddux became something baseball had never seen before. 1992, free agency. Greg joins the Atlanta Braves. And then, for 4 straight years, he wins the Cy Young Award. 4 in a row. Nobody had ever done that. Nobody has done it since. 1994, Greg Maddux had a 1.56 ERA. 1.56 in the modern era, when hitters were the biggest and strongest they'd ever been. 1995, Greg went 19-2. 19-2. His ERA was 1.63. But here's what makes it insane. This was happening during the steroid era. Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa were turning into superheroes. Home runs were flying out at record rates. Pitchers everywhere were getting torched. And Greg? Greg was making them look like little leaguers. How? Let me tell you the secret. Greg Maddux didn't throw strikes. He threw balls that looked like strikes. That pitch that catches the outside corner, it started 6 inches outside. The batter swings because his brain told him it was a strike. The umpire calls it a strike anyway because Greg's reputation made it a strike. Greg had an 88-mile-per-hour fastball that looked like 95 because he set it up with an 82-mile-per-hour changeup that looked identical. He threw a curveball that moved 3 inches but felt like 3 feet. Hitters would come back to the dugout shaking their heads. I don't understand. Nothing he throws is unhittable, but I can't hit anything. That was the magic. Greg made professional athletes question everything they knew about hitting. But it's not just what he did, it's who he did it against. 1998, Mark McGwire hits 70 home runs. Sammy Sosa hits 66. Pitchers' ERAs are ballooning. And Greg Maddux, 2.22 ERA. Batters hitting .201 against him. Barry Bonds, the guy who would eventually hit 762 career home runs, went 2 for 29 against Greg Maddux in his career. 2 for 29. The greatest hitter of the steroid era couldn't figure out a guy throwing 86 miles per hour. Jeff Bagwell said facing Maddux was like trying to hit a ball bearing with a broomstick. There's a famous story from 1997. First inning. Greg throws 7 pitches, 3 outs, 7 pitches. After the game, reporters ask him how. Greg just smiles and says, "I threw strikes." But they weren't strikes. Not really. They were optical illusions, magic tricks. Greg was a magician in a world of weightlifters. Here's a question for you. Do you think today's analytics-obsessed game would appreciate Greg Maddux? Or would they tell him to throw harder? Drop a comment. Keep watching, because the ending will surprise you. By the late 1990s, Greg Maddux wasn't just a pitcher, he was a weapon. Teams would alter their entire lineup when facing him. But even Greg couldn't escape Father Time. 2004. After 13 seasons in Atlanta, Greg returned to the Cubs at age 38. Most pitchers are done at 38. Greg went 16-11, 2005. Greg was 42 years old, and he won his 355th game, placing him 8th on the all-time wins list. When he retired, the final numbers were staggering. 355 wins, 3,371 strikeouts, 3.16 ERA across 23 seasons, 4 Cy Young Awards, 18 Gold Gloves, more than any pitcher in history. But here's the stat that tells you everything. From 1992 to 2006, 15 seasons, Greg Maddux averaged 16 wins and a 2.90 ERA, across the heart of the steroid era. Tom Glevine said, Greg could throw a ball through a donut hole from 60 feet away, 50 times in a row. Tony Gwynn, one of the greatest pure hitters ever, batted .415, lifetime against everyone. Against Greg Maddux, 203. Greg turned Tony Gwynn into a below-average hitter. When Greg was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2014, he received 97.2% of the vote. So why will there never be another Greg Maddux? Today's game is about velocity. Triple-digit fastballs, strikeouts. Pitchers throw 100 pitches in 5 innings because they're just gassing hitters. Greg threw 100 pitches in 8 innings. He'd finish games. Today's players are stronger, faster, more athletic. But they're not smarter. They don't study. They don't adjust. They don't think. Greg Maddux proved that the mind is the most powerful muscle in sports. And here's the beautiful irony. During the steroid era, when cheaters got bigger and stronger through illegal means, the one guy who stayed clean and small and smart became the most dominant pitcher in baseball. While Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were lying to Congress, Greg Maddux was just throwing strikes that weren't strikes and making a mockery of the entire era. Baseball tried to become a power game. Greg reminded everyone it's a thinking game. There's a photo of Greg from 1995. He's on the mound. No emotion, just focus. That was Greg. No showboating, no screaming, just work. You can study his mechanics. You can watch the highlights. But you'll never truly understand what it was like to face Greg Maddux. To stand 60 feet away from a guy who knew what you were thinking before you knew what you were thinking. Today's pitchers are incredible, but they'll never be Greg Maddux, because Greg was built on preparation and obsession. He was built by the love of the craft. Pure, simple, undeniable intelligence. Greg Maddux was the pitcher, the standard. The proof that brains beat brawn, baseball's mad scientist. The professor who taught everyone that greatness isn't about what you throw, it's about where you throw it. If Greg's story lit a fire in you, if you're ready to celebrate legends who actually changed the game, smash that subscribe button. Chronicles of the Game isn't just another sports channel. We're a movement. We're bringing back the stories that matter, the players who deserve to be remembered. Greg Maddux made us believe in intelligence. Now it's our turn to make sure his genius never dies. Stay smart, and I'll see you in the next one.